Hi all my Jade Gems, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have a very special video where I went on to Instagram and TikTok to ask you guys your questions that you had, and here we are today answering them. So for today's video, I decided that I wanted to just do my makeup while answering a buttload of kink questions that I have from you guys. In today's video, we're not going to be revealing anyone that asked the questions. Sorry if you wanted a shout out because you asked it on TikTok, but since people asked it on Instagram, I made sure that it's just all going to be anonymous for this video. Except for one person, we'll find out who that is. Someone asked, where do you start? And I'd say there's a few places that you could start with when you're getting into kink or wanting to learn more about the kink and you want to start getting involved in BDSM. And I always say start your journey by doing the research of the kinks that interest you or what has gotten you initially into kink. And finding out the reasons that you do like that kink, and if you're a dom and it involves tools or anything, learning how you're supposed to do it properly and find out techniques on how to use different toys. Also, while researching, you see things that might correlate a little bit together with other kinks that you might be able to incorporate or might actually enjoy as well. So you're spreading out your knowledge right there and moving on to another subject. If you don't know how to research all this, it's very easy. I will honestly say, whenever I have a question, whenever I have a question and I have no idea where to get the answer at all, I go to Google and I type my question and then I add BDSM to the end of it, and it usually gives me some good results, and you just have to kind of scroll and look for an answer. But if you would like to have all your answers kind of just in front of you, I do recommend there's the new topping book and the new bottoming book, and they're both on Amazon. I'm pretty sure they're like 20 bucks on there, but they're both really good reads and amazing for getting your intro into kink and starting to learn all the different ways that you could go about kink. Another thing when you're first getting started into kink is you could even just for fun take some tests to see what you are in the bedroom. You can find out if you're a dom, if you're a sub. You can find out if you're a brat tamer. You can find out if you're master slave. There's many different types of subs and doms that you could possibly be. And I believe it's called the BDSM test. I'm gonna find out right now. Yeah, if you look up the bdsmtest.org, it's gonna be on there. It's the first thing that pops up. And I always suggest, like, if you want to just do it real fast for fun, you could do the short test. But if you are really just wanting to know specifically more what you are, so you can start doing some research and figuring out where you're going to be starting your kink journey, I would suggest taking the longer test. It just has more questions and it helps give you more of a defined answer. And it'll go through and tell you like what percents you are of which things, and I think it's pretty awesome. You could even be like, you could be like 90% vanilla and still have like high scores on everything else as well. It just helps you figure out what you like, and then I feel like it starts making you ask yourself other questions too. I hope that answers your question though, is just basically when you're getting started into kink is to start doing your research. It's not technically with a partner very first at all. With some people it could be you're learning from your partner or you guys are learning together. But if you're single, that's a really good place to start, is doing your research and finding out information and getting yourself educated. Someone asked, what are your favorite resources for new members in the community? And this is just my opinion because I want you to know it's not like the best and most recommended type of sources to go to, but my favorite resources for people to go to that are new into the community, because it's so lighthearted and like they give really amazing information and it's free because it's on YouTube, is What's the Safe Word. That's like, he's my favorite YouTuber of all times, and he has so many videos backed up of all the different education about different types of kinks and going over like even the science of everything, and I know he has one talking about littles with a little that was present with him because he's a pup and then she was a little, and then it was so funny. They are absolutely amazing, and I love what they do for education on YouTube for kink and sex wise. I should be doing my makeup. Oh my god. Because personally, when I hear these questions from people, I know that a lot of people don't want to just go ahead and spend money right away trying to get reading information for it. People want some answers right away, right then, right now, and I honestly think that the commentary, the punny jokes, and everything off of his channel, and just their energy is awesome, and all he wants to do is help educate. Alright, I got a lot of questions from you guys asking where to find events and meet other people. I can say right now, it's really hard to do any of that because of the pandemic. Now, where I would usually go for my posting, I could still see some different munches that are happening on Zoom calls kind of locally to me that are optional. I don't know how it is for everyone. I personally go on FetLife to look at their events boards to find anything either local or any events that might be happening, but right now they're completely non-existent. But you have to be very careful when you use that one because a lot of those munches are at people's houses too sometimes, and a lot of those munches are not munches, they're just like parties with a lot of naked people. You have to be careful, and if you want to go to an actual munch, I always suggest, and you should live by this rule, don't go to a munch unless it's in public. Because it's just gonna be you guys, like, some people don't know what munches are. It's just basically you hanging out with some people that are in the kink community, and possibly there's a local dungeon around, or they have a private dungeon, and it's just getting to know you, and if they like you, they might invite you back to be able to hang out and do more and be a part of their group and stuff. But other than that, it's gonna just be a hangout, get some pizza, go to dinner, or have some lunch or some coffee with a bunch of people and just getting to know you and see who you are and see if they like you. It's like munches are basically a vetting process for groups. See who you are, if you're gonna be rude or anything during lunch, or if you're just super nice and you just want to be a part of something local, so that people can get a judge of your character. There's another place that you can go. Shocker, Facebook actually has different groups and events and stuff like that. So if you start finding different type of kink events, I know they have like Mr. Rubber. I'm not too sure what other events they have going on because of COVID. But if you look on Facebook, you're usually able to find some event pages for different kink events that you can add, and then you can be made aware when the next event is. And the events are just like, if it's a bigger event, it's usually just like a like a Comic Con kind of thing is, but like for kink. That question's just kind of hard to answer right now because of how the world is at the moment. But I could safely say I wouldn't expect any kink events happening anytime soon in big public places. Yeah. Oh my god, okay. I just saw this question and it kind of just like resonates with me a little bit because I have to deal with this every day too in a different way, and it really sucks. Is how do you handle reactions from friends when they find out and are
nonchalantly.
Oh. And nonchalantly put you down for it. And how I handle it is sometimes I might get a little aggressive because they're my friends and I've known them for a very long time. There are some people, how do I put it? There are some people that try to talk to me about it that I don't know at all, and I just look at them. It's so hard. I put up a fake front a lot of how aggressive I can be. And just also me always having to stand up for myself, putting up this giant thing of confidence to be able to say, fuck you, I don't care what you say. Oh, can I say that word on YouTube? We're gonna try to make sure it doesn't say, okay. But it is hard for me because I have friends and I will talk about different kinks with guys. I'll put the example I would say is pegging. And I'll be talking to one of my girlfriends about it that completely supports me. And then a guy comes around and says, well, that's gay. Any guy that does that is gay. And I come swinging with this whole find of like, how is it gay if it's connected to a woman? Well, you have a prostate, so why is that bad? Why can't it be touched? That's like your secret G-spot. And just dealing with a lot of this toxic masculinity towards this specific thing that I like a lot. And it's not even like, they say, look at me and they say, I'm not judging you, I'm judging the guy for liking it. And that really makes me so upset to hear because, number one, that's someone that I either care about or have cared about immensely that allowed me to do that to them. As well as just, why do you think that's okay just to put someone down because they like that? I hate to say it. At the end of the day, you kind of have to have some type of tough skin. I do feel like you start seeing your friends in a different light when they start judging and being rude about it, because all I ask is just like, if you don't like it, I won't talk about it, but please don't judge what I do or what people do for me because of what you think should be the proper norms. And just don't kink shame. That's it. Like, just don't shame me for it. It's not your cup of tea. That's okay. Just don't shame me for it. And they do that, and I'm just like, why are you putting this hate out in the world? Why do you have to do this? Sucks. I fucking hate it so much. Maybe not bring it up as much, and that kind of sucks, but you know the people that you can bring it up with. That's why it's good to have friends that are in the community to be able to talk to this stuff about. You know, me being someone that has been in a male-dominated world like my entire life and always been around a bunch of guys and always like giving me shit, talking shit and everything, you learn to just tough it up and just eventually just let it be and know that you're not going to change their mind, but they're just an idiot for it. So I have a few different questions about Aftercare on here from different people, and this one question says, I'm a new sub, so I don't know what helps for Aftercare yet. Tips of finding out without sub drop. So with Aftercare, let's talk about the reason that you need Aftercare after having a kink scene. During the kink scene, you're going into your headspace and you're releasing a bunch of different endorphins. These endorphins that are going all around your body during your scene will later be joined by dopamine that will go through the brain and start telling basically all your pain receptors to just lessen down. And usually when that happens, that's when the different types of pain start to become more euphoric. That was a bad explanation, but that's the explanation. But once the dopamine starts subsiding in the brain, which means you're starting to get out of a scene and calm down, you're not really working those endorphins too much anymore, then your body starts releasing prolactin. That's a stress balancer that basically starts leveling you out from what you were just experiencing. Hi everyone, sorry Jade from editing. I just wanted to fix my explanation real fast. Prolactin, when it is released in the brain, is a stress balancer. And what this does to us is make us feel extremely exhausted and tired. Now, having this alongside BDSM is going to make us sometimes feel alienated or abused, so that's why we have the proper aftercare. And for aftercare, it could be whatever you like most, whatever you feel like you need after a scene. When you're trying to figure out what you want to have as your aftercare, as a dom or a sub, because both doms and sub both need proper aftercare afterwards to prevent kink drop, I would say to just start figuring out what you like after just regular sex. What do you enjoy? Do you want to be cuddled? Do you want some candy afterwards? Do you maybe want to go rinse off because you feel gross? Do you want to do that with someone or without someone? Do you guys want to enjoy a lot of intimate time together right after a scene? Or do you need a second or two by yourself after a scene? Everyone's aftercare is different. It's only you that gets to know what you actually need and want, and to communicate that with your partner. Someone just asked, is it uncommon for a man to be a sub? No. No, it is not uncommon for a man to be a sub. If you want to be a sub, then you're more than welcome to be a sub. It is not uncommon at all. They're made of all different shapes and sizes too. There's no just specific little twink boys or any type of man. There's no man that just fits the description of a just generic sub. I've seen some very masculine men that are very masculine in their lives. And you would look at them and think, damn, they're probably a dom, but they enjoy being subs. And that's just because they just enjoy having that power taken from them. Giving up that power to someone else. And you know, there's just a really sad thing that people do discriminate and say that you shouldn't be a sub if you're a man. Honestly, just whatever you want to do. It's not uncommon. And people, it's just toxic masculinity getting in the way if people are saying that that's not okay for you to do. It's 100% okay for you to do, as long as you want to do it and it's all consensual and it's all safe and you're all anyone's communicating, then perfect, it's fine. Don't let other people judge you for what you want to be and what you want to do. I will say a lot of those masculine men are not comfortable sharing that they do sub. And that's just a personal thing. That's their option. They could do whatever they want with it. I like this question. What are the best questions to ask someone who wants to be your sub or dom? I would say the answer to that is, hi, what's your name? Do you have hobbies? Do you like the ocean? Are you a morning person or a night person? Do you like Star Wars? And it's kind of my own joke at that point, just because you should just be doing the vetting process in the first place if you're trying to see if you want to have someone be your sub or your dom. Which at first is just getting to know them as a person, as a human being, and seeing if you even like them in the first place. Seeing if they're crazy or not, you know? And people think that the kink community is just so much more different than like the regular vanilla dating community. And it's not. It's just like dating. You get to know each other. You figure out if you want to take this person back home and have sex with them. But did you just also think more of, am I gonna eventually be okay trusting this person to tie me up and gag me? You should never just meet someone and play unless you want to do pickup play, and I don't really want to touch on that topic right now. But basically just getting to know someone first. And someone also did ask, how do you vet someone without dating them? And I honestly say the answer's still the same. Like, you're still gonna go out and meet friends, like, and go out to coffee and hang out in public places. Do that with them and then just go from there, you know? Figure out if you can enjoy them and if you have a conversation with them, if you like that. And then eventually down the line, you start going over checklists and figuring out like how the dynamic would work between you two. And sometimes just because you've made it that far into the vetting process with each other and you start going over checklists with each other doesn't even mean that it's going to be a full for sure thing yet. Because you two can start realizing that you two have different kinks that you don't want to give up but the other person's not willing to do. And that might even be a deal breaker for some people sometimes as well. It's a hard thing to say, but like slow and steady definitely wins the race when you're trying to get to know someone that could possibly be a sub or dom partner. Now, if you're already done with the vetting process, yeah, that's definitely the point in time when you start going over checklists and start asking how they would want to be in a dynamic and how you like to act in a dynamic and how these things can correlate together and figure out if the dynamic would even work or not. I hope that helped. And it's, how do you properly bring up what you're into to someone that you're dating? And this could be kind of tricky because you might be dating this person for a while and they have no idea that you like this type of stuff, that you're into this type of stuff. It might be just a fairly hard and difficult conversation for you to bring up with them because you might feel like, oh, I'm blindsiding them, or like, what are they gonna do? Are they still gonna like me? Are they gonna start looking at me differently? And depending on the type of like relationship you're in, it's very variables and depends, but you shouldn't be afraid. And you gotta kind of go into this with the mindset of, okay, no matter what they say to what I ask them to do, the worst thing they could say to me is no. At the same time, if you've been in a relationship with someone and they care about you and they love you and they are open and honest with you and you both have a good communication and relationship, there should be nothing wrong with just bringing it up. There's always like lighter ways of bringing it up. I would say that I do not know every single person's different relationship that they have and they're in, and something different is gonna work for everyone on how to be able to bring it up with your significant other. But at the end of the day, I don't know who you're talking to and how they act and how they are, but I could say, generally speaking, if you are trying to have this conversation with your partner, the easiest way to do it is just having communication there and bringing it up kind of nonchalantly. You can maybe ask them the question first, say, hey, is there anything that you might want to do in the bedroom that we've never done before? And getting their side, seeing if they're just like, nah, or like, you know what, there's like one thing I have been wanting to try, or there's something I saw that I think it would be fun if we did, and that opens up the conversation for that. If they're not closed-ended and they just say no, we'll just say like, oh, okay. And like I have some stuff that if you would be open to it, we can maybe possibly eventually do. And I feel like not putting pressure on the person that would be doing this with you, not putting the pressure of like, hey, we need to do this because I really want to do it, so you have to do it for me because I want to do it. Kind of coming into it very open, just like allowing there to be the conversation in hand. It doesn't have to feel like you're pushing them in a corner because you want something to be done or you want to do something with them. Having it as an option, talking about it, it helps a lot if you already have like a good amount of information on your own, by your own, to be able to give them if they ask questions about it. I always think it's better to be prepared for that conversation than not to be, and you not knowing some answers that they have questions for together. But I feel like it's very good not to put too much pressure onto them from the situation, and to try to just keep it an open topic of conversation, and maybe even if you have to circle back to it later because they don't want to talk about it right then and there, just don't be pushing it down their throats. Give them the time to process and figure out if they do want to take that kind of hands-off approach at first to understand what it is that you asked of them. Someone asked for tips on safe words, and for what I can say for tips on safe words is I love the stoplight system so freaking much. It's so simple, it's universal, and it's just so easy. I honestly say keep it simple. Like, it does not, I've only known a few different DOMs and subs to actually use specific safe words and not use the stoplight system. And you could do whatever you want, but the standard stoplight system is pretty generic and easy. Green is okay. If a DOM is hesitant or maybe pushing a soft limit at that time and just wants to check in with their sub, or just is checking in with their sub to make sure that they're okay to continue on with the scene, they asked for a green, and that's what the green is for. The yellow is sub will yell, and even a DOM could yell if it's becoming too much for them and it's time to either move on, maybe it's time to start slowing down, the scene doesn't have to stop right away. That's something that will be communicated with you and your DOM. But most of the time it is, if it's in the beginning, it's time to move on to something else, and if it's at the end of the scene, it's time to start slowing down and going down to aftercare. Red will mean to stop the scene no matter what's happening. Like, it's automatic. If they're tied up, get them untied. So yeah, red just means stop. Stop immediately on a dime. Now, adding on to this though, there are different ways to do safe words when you can't use your words. Let's say you have a ball gag in and you need to use your safe word without being able to use words, and this is what you could do for if you're wearing a ball gag. You could have something in the submissive's hand. It could be a bell so it makes noise when it drops. It could be a bouncy ball so you could continuously hear it drop. There's people that do little bracelets that start changing colors, and the submissive could flip it to a color to signal the DOM that it's time to move on or stop. They need to get out. This I don't believe is technically considered a safe word. I believe this is just considered safety in the first place. Now, I always say this to my friends whenever they talk about like wanting to choke a girl, but being afraid that they're gonna choke them out and into unconsciousness. And first off, I always ask how did they grip the neck, and then I correct them because they're usually doing it wrong. But I'll always tell them whenever they are deciding to choke someone during sex is to put their hands onto your arm as well, so that you know if they start loosening their grip, they're starting to pass out and it's time to let go a little bit or completely off their neck. And I put that in a category of safe word because I feel like that's like kind of a safety net safe word, but it's not a safe word. It's just like a pre-warning to release. What are some ways to deal with fake DOMs? My first experience with a DS lifestyle relationship was traumatic and not handled well. Well, I would say that the best way to deal with fake DOMs are to leave them, to run away, to no longer even accept that they exist in the world, and the moment one does cross your path, to leave right away and just like to completely avoid them. And I'm gonna coincide this with another question that I got from some more people is how do I spot a fake DOM? How do I tell if someone is a fake DOM? And I'm gonna tell you, it's pretty easy and I love it so much, but it's just usually because they're fuckboys. That's what they are. If they act like a fuckboy, then they try to say that they're in the BDSM stuff. They're not a DOM or anything, and they are assholes, and they should be go by, like, done. But if someone is trying to be dom to you and you were trying to figure out if they're a fake dom or not, these are some key things that they will do. Number one, if they're not that experienced, they're not going to probably own up to that right away. A lot of people will own up to it, and they're usually very communicative. They communicate. Yeah. They communicate with you that they are new, and that they don't know everything, that they are still learning stuff. And if like someone is new and they're not willing to like accept that, usually most of the time they're trying to fake it till they make it. But a lot of newer doms will be very open and say that that is why they don't know as much, is because they just don't have all the knowledge yet. And they are new. Fake doms won't admit that. Also, fake doms will try to start taking power from you right away before you even give it to them. Or maybe they'll try to grab you and be a little aggressive because they think, oh my god, that's how they do it in 50 Shades of Grey. And some girls will fall for it and then be like, oh, because they get a little bit of this serotonin in their body and they're just like, oh, this is so much fun. And then they don't realize that they're just being an asshole and they're not really caring for their feelings and stuff. So a big thing is starting to progress and think that you're already in a dynamic when you're not. I have snapped at a lot of people to their like freaking face when they try to grab me or do anything without my permission to my body, and whoa, does not end well for them. Other ways are just their mannerisms. A lot of the times, like real doms, if they want to vet with you and they want to get to know you and stuff and they want to figure out if you two could be in a dynamic, they won't usually bring up like sex too much or BDSM too much or like try to take power over you. They'll really just try to get to know you. A lot of fake doms will just start trying to get into what you like and what you want to do with them. And being new into the community, like this will be like, oh, it's so exciting. It might be just like a really hot guy and just they're already wanting to vet with me and do this stuff, but then they're just like already just keep on talking about sex and telling you their expectations of you when you see them for like the first time and stuff like that. And it's like not okay. One of my friends was supposed to go on a date with this dominant woman, and she said, I expect you to have your arms shaved, have your nails manicured, dress nice, all these things that she expected of him, like right off the bat for meeting for coffee. And he was just like, no, I am supposed to be able to come how I want. And then the coffee date never even ended up happening because he was just like, no, that's not okay. I don't know you, you're not gonna take over and just tell me what to do right now. Someone asked how to teach a guy to be able to properly choke. Okay, it's pretty easy to be able to teach a guy how to choke properly. You tell them to put their hand in a U and then choke themselves. And to realize they're not supposed to be hitting any type of windpipe at all or a Adam's apple. And it's to start squeezing inwards. And to do that to themselves to make sure they know that it hurts the windpipe when it's being pushed. And that it's supposed to be the arteries that are getting cut off the circulation. So you're still able to breathe, it's just blood flows becoming a little less in the brain. And then also that tip I suggested earlier, having the other person's hand on your hand while you are choking them so that just in case anything happens, you know when to let go. Hey everyone, Jade from editing again. So I'm going to have to end the video right here because it is 30 minutes long and I have another 30 minutes of footage to still edit through. So there will be a part 2, hopefully coming in tonight or tomorrow. Thank you guys all so much for coming this far and watching the video. I really appreciate all your guys' support. If you guys have any more kink questions that I haven't been able to answer yet, I think I'm going to continue to do kink questions, and I also maybe make some of these kink questions into subjects for a whole video. Thank you guys. I love you all my jaded gems, and I shall be seeing you guys soon on here. Bye!